I'm sure you've all heard of the idea that reciting Surah Mulk every night saves you from the punishment of the grave. How authentic is this? Let's analyze. So there's a hadith for this, and the hadith has the following chain. Asim ibn Abi Najud narrated from Zir ibn Hubayj, who narrated from Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. So the first thing to note here is that this is Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu speaking. It's interesting to keep in mind, even though if a Sahabi is speaking about the ghaib, we expect it to come from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even if it's not explicitly stated. So it's not necessarily a big problem, but something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that Asim is the same Asim whom we get the recitation of the Quran from. And so he was the Imam of recitation. However, he was Hasan in hadith. So this hadith is Hasan because of Hasan, and Hasan is good. We're not unhappy with Hasan. However, the issue here, or the thing to really consider, is that this hadith has two transmissions from Asim. One of them comes from Sufyan al-Thawri, who narrated from Asim, and Sufyan al-Thawri was an Imam of hadith. The other one is from Arfaja, and Arfaja is an acceptable narrator. Let's look at the two transmissions. So Arfaja's transmission is the one we usually hear, and that is the one that says, whoever recites Surah Mulk every night, Allah will save him from the punishment of the grave. However, Sufyan al-Thawri's narration is a bit different. Sufyan al-Thawri says that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said, punishment will come to a person in his grave, and it will come to his feet, and then the feet will say, and obviously Allah has the power to make even your body part speak, and He will indeed make your body part speak even on the Day of Judgment. So the feet will say, you have no right over us because he used to recite Surah Mulk. And then the punishment will come to the torso or the stomach. The torso will say, you have no right over me because he used to recite Surah Mulk with me. And then the punishment will come to his head, and then the head will say, you have no right over me because he used to recite Surah Mulk with me. So Ibn Mas'ud said, so this surah is the protector. It protects from the punishment of the grave. And whoever recites it every night, he has done something really big. So this is the correct transmission of the hadith. And in this hadith, we do get the idea that Surah Mulk saves you from the punishment of the grave. And we do get the idea that it's recommended to recite Surah Mulk at night. But we should, keep in mind that it's not recommended only at night. And it's not only at night that it saves from the punishment of the grave. In fact, the point is that the more you recite Surah Mulk, more protection you get. This concept about Surah Mulk is not just limited to this hadith. There's another Hasan hadith on the subject, narrated from Abu Hurairah. The Prophet ﷺ said, there is a surah in the Quran that intercedes for a person until he is forgiven, and that surah is Surah Mulk. Let's make an intention that we should recite Surah Mulk at night and in the day, and make dua to Allah that we are saved from the punishment of the grave.